Dools.
Has.
We're still under lockdown. All film is completely put on hold. TV is absolutely bursting in game. Whoa, game has never seen a future like this ever. Let's get into it. Dools, welcome to another episode of the More Cops on Duty podcast. How are you doing today?
Hey, mate, I'm good. I'm all right. How are you?
It sounded like I was reading off a script then, didn't it?
How are you, Has?
I'm good.
You're not going so crazy just yet?
Not just yet. I've kind of got the privilege that a lot of people don't. Well, vast majority don't, that I recently moved into a new apartment and recently changed jobs, so it's all still fresh for me, so I don't really consider this as working from home, if you know what I mean. So there's like the environment around me is still very fresh, so I'm a lot less stir crazy than others. You know what I mean?
That's good. Yeah, and especially for those of us who are lucky enough to work from home, we're staying somewhat productive during the day.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, we're lucky to be working from home. And I personally don't think that I'm not sure about your position, but I can't complain about anything. There's a lot worse people off in this world at the moment than I am. I'm not sure about you. You could speak for yourself, of course. But yeah, so my heart goes out to anyone that's really affected by this. It's honestly an absolutely irregular, extraordinary circumstance that we're under. One that no one could really predict except for apparently Bill Gates. But
except for apparently a lot of people whose job it is to literally warn us about these things and just have governments do nothing in response.
Nothing.
So the writing was on the wall for this, and to be fair, we've had extremely close calls of this kind. Only in the past 20 years we've had a handful of them, but we're just lucky that they didn't escalate like this. So, swine flu, SARS, Ebola, Zika virus, all could have potentially been pandemics, but we got lucky. And this was the one.
The luck ran out.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
On that great note, Dools, let's say...
Can I just ask you something very quickly?
Damn it.
Yeah, it's very important. It's real important. I've been struggling with a predicament. Someone asked me a question which I just couldn't off for the life of me answer. I just couldn't answer. What is the More Cops on Duty podcast?
Dools, thank you so much for asking. The More Cops on Duty podcast is your one-stop shop for anything film, TV, and game related in terms of news, reviews, pop culture, entertainment. Just a couple of lads just getting together to talk some news, talk some reviews on anything that we've seen, that we've played, or anything that pops up on any news feed. We're across all... before you talk, Dools, I heard that breath. We're across all podcasting platforms, but mainly Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. We're trying to get onto YouTube, hitting some barriers at the moment, but we should be up there in the next week or so.
Really, I feel like anyone and everyone can get on YouTube.
Awesome. So Dools will make sure that we're on YouTube as of next week. Yeah, you asked for that. But until, I don't know, just keep listening to us until the end of this and beyond. That was a really weird way to finish that off. But yes, so we're always here throughout any pandemic. We'll watch any TV show, watch any movie, and we'll basically tell you not to watch it if it's shit. Is that all right, Dools?
Yeah, because, look, you don't want your time wasted now more than ever. Oh, who am I kidding? We've plenty of time to waste. We can watch all the shit movies in the world now.
Yeah, I was having a video conference with my entire team earlier before this, around 5, because we had a new guy start today. So he's doing a full onboarding digitally. Weird,
yeah,
right?
Wow.
They were talking about Lord of the Rings came into conversation. There was one person that's never seen it. and one of the guys is like, "Hey, you should tonight you should watch all the extended editions." And she goes, "We don't have time for that." And then there was silence, and I was like, "Yeah, we do. Like, we absolutely do. Like, what else do we have to do?"
In one night after work, I mean, yeah, that's quite a feat. But I mean, in general, we most definitely do. In fact, that's something I want to do. I've got like a few little film and TV milestones which I'm trying to hit. It's also a perfect time for clearing out those game backlogs. Not just because of the ample amount of time, but because, and we'll get into this, no new games are coming out. No new big releases that we got very excited for, and their release windows are looking very uncertain. So yeah, I want to rewatch that entire Harry Potter saga. Haven't watched them since Deathly Hallows came out in cinemas. So that's pushing 8 years. And yeah, I actually don't think I have seen, at least all of them, the extended cuts of the Lotta trilogy. So it's another thing.
Well, Dools, thank you for bringing that up of film backlog and game backlog that we haven't really tackled, because I'm not sure if you are aware of this, Dools. We now do 2 shows a week.
Oh my God.
On your Wednesday...
Literally no one asked for this.
Get this, Dools. On your Wednesday, you get your weekly dose of the Mall Cops. On Friday, you get that overdose, right? That review show where we pick one movie.
You get that extra helping that you don't want, and you get a regret after it.
Absolutely. So we pick one TV show, one film, one game, something that's popular at the moment, or that just came onto streaming platforms is popular, or something in our backlog, and we're just going to review it. So I reckon we should do the extended cuts.
Has what? Yeah, that's a good one. We'll do that down the track. I think
we got the time.
Do we? So we've already filmed the first of this new spin-off series. What did we talk about?
We talked about Ozark Season 3. Won't talk about it fully here. The podcast is out.
Yeah.
Me and Dools
if
just
you
going
want
through
a full
everything about...
spoiler-filled review on Ozark Season 3, which you do, check it out. It's there. It's waiting for you.
Hell of a season, Dools.
It blew me away. I think this is really one of Netflix have, they're kind of a bit laissez-faire with the whole quality assurance, quality control thing lately. Back when Netflix first came to Australia, I feel like that little N in the corner, that red N, signified a lot of quality, because Netflix weren't as bold and brash with their investing in new films and TV shows. In fact, I don't think they were doing original films quite yet. They're only doing TV series. And it was almost like that Nintendo seal of approval. You knew it was going to be good. We were getting shows like Daredevil, House of Cards, those were 2 of the big ones. Orange
is the New Black.
Yeah. So and they were just notorious for being these, their marquee shows, and they were
Stranger
exclusive.
Things, yeah.
And now it's slipping. They just have so much capital. They have so many random movies coming out. It'd be impossible to catch up on the Netflix exclusive stuff alone. So many new shows, blah blah blah. It's impossible to keep up with. But emerging from that muck, rising like a phoenix out of the ashes, is Ozark, and it's a great show. It is really, really good.
It is really great.
And we make multiple comparisons to Breaking Bad. Everyone knows Breaking Bad. In its tonality, themes, characters. And so, if you're a fan of Breaking Bad, you will be a fan of Ozark.
That's a good way to put it, Dools.
Yes. And so that's our spin-off cast. It's good. I think the next one we want to be, I was trying to sell it to you now. Should we tell them? Should we give them a sneak preview?
Yeah, so it was originally going to be Tiger King. We both finished Tiger King. Mm-hmm. We both have various opinions on Tiger King, which we'll deep dive. That was going to be for this Friday.
So we may as well say here as well, we'll lead with one of these news stories. So basically, the reason...
I was saying this. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was just probably going to do a better of explaining it. That's all.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, you piece of shit.
He can't do anything to me, ladies and gents. It's remote. He can't do anything. He can't stop me. So we were going to do it this Friday, and of course the series is out. But word has surfaced from the mouth of one of the infamous figures in the series himself, Jeff Lowe, that a new episode, for some reason, is being filmed now, but will debut next week, sometime next week. Is this true? Who knows? I think probably. I don't know why he'd just make that up out of nowhere. It might just be
it's a weird thing to make up if it's not true.
It would be very bizarre. I mean, is he trying to get more attention? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what ultimately achieves. So for the time being, we're taking it with a grain of salt, but we're believing him. And so we're holding off for that reason, and we will do it next week after the fact, hoping that episode has come out. Also, I completely believe that they can be filming it right now and be in the editing room for a day and just be yeah, sweet. Because I'll spoil a little bit of my review right now. The only thing that makes the documentary good is the subject matter, which is obviously the main point in a lot of documentaries. But the production value is fucking abysmal. The editing is atrocious. It jumps around timeline wise and cuts wise, like it was a fucking first time editing job. So yes. But that is something we'll leave for the review. So yeah, and I suggested to you that we look at a famous Studio Ghibli film instead for Friday.
Yeah.
Should we tell them what it is, or just say it's their most
of course.
One? All right.
Yeah.
Spirited Away. So which I was stunned. Which I was stunned to learn that you hadn't seen. I'd seen it years ago. I think almost when it first came out. So this is we're talking maybe close to 20 years. I think it was 2000. Wait. Yeah, I think it was 2001 actually. Spirited Away. So long time. I rewatched it again for the first time in 20 years last night, and it is it's like all of their films. It's a delight, and it's very creepy, very Japanese. There's a lot of it's very Japanese in terms of its cultural elements, and they mix in a bit of Japanese supernatural elements, but I mean, even you can know next to nothing about Japanese culture and still have a great time. And just visually speaking, I think they are bar none the masters of that animation style, that 2D hand drawn, authentic animation. They're unparalleled, unmatched.
Awesome.
So yeah, that'll be a good one. Yeah.
Yep, can't wait. I'll watch it either tonight or tomorrow night, and we'll record and release it for Friday, Dolls.
Ooh.
But Dolls, until then, we like to start each and every episode with what we've been playing, what we've been watching. Of course, I just touched on that we watched Ozark and Tiger King. So next Friday, we'll be going through a full in-depth spoiler cast across Tiger King. Hopefully that new episode is out. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty, Dolls. A lot. Have you seen the numbers that Call of Duty's been racking in? 30 million on Warzone?
Yeah, that's absurd. And that's from a couple of weeks ago. I wouldn't be surprised if that's gone up even more, considering more and more of the world are just being locked down in their homes now. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that is
and
absurd.
Yeah, you can't get a physical copy of Call of Duty at the moment.
Wow.
Unless you order it from Amazon, you can't go into an EB or a JB at the moment and get...
yeah, I'm going to be fascinated to see sales figures for games like that, and new games. I think so we'll get into it, but Final Fantasy VII Remake, which broke street date in a couple countries. I think the UK and Australia being the two main regions. But I think with more news of big tempo releases being indefinitely delayed later this year, I think games like that are just going to have a slow burn because people are just going to play everything they have, and they'll be looking for new games, and not much has going to come out, will have come out. So games like COD, Final Fantasy, I mean, they're just going to reap the benefits of this kind of situation. So, but yeah, 30 million, I mean, that's fucking... I think Fortnite's largest ever recorded player count, and it might have even gone up since, I think might be 150 million. But that's over a long time. But yeah, that's monstrous, and that's also considering it's everywhere, iPad, iPhone, fucking Switch, This Warzone for the time being is just PS4, Xbox One, PC. I mean, there is a Call of Duty mobile, but I just don't know if they'd port it to iPhone. I mean, maybe. Who really knows? I mean, it depends how successful it becomes, but Call of Duty
78.3 million active Fortnite players.
How many? Sorry,
78.3.
Yeah, so that's yeah. Well, it wouldn't have. Well, I mean, so that number I remember when I first heard it. I'm pretty sure that was pre Apex Legends and pre PUBG coming to PS4. So you imagine those two would have eaten up a bit of market share, and especially now with Warzone, which by all accounts I still haven't played it, but which by all accounts,
mate, come into Warzone. It
sounds like fun. A much better, experience, because this is like a Call of Duty game, which has mastered the mechanics of a first-person shooter, in my opinion. And you've just got that, in Battle Royale form.
Yeah, but they added one thing that just accelerated it far beyond Fortnite for me. And it's where I believe that the game fucking starts. Like, people think that the game starts when you dive in. Hell no. When you die, Dools, you get dragged into what's called the Gulag. And it's a 1v1 match. And if you win, you're free. And it's literally all's on the line. You've got nothing less to lose. It's you or him. And he just...
Is it bare hands or is it with a knife or like...
You get a random gun.
Yeah, okay.
So it's randomized each time. You don't get to pick
Oh, right.
shit.
So someone could get like an assault rifle, you could get a pistol?
No. So you both got the same weapon, but it's randomized.
Okay, I really like that.
But it's... Oh, man. I've gotten out of the Gulag probably 100 times.
Does your chances to go to the Gulag, like, do you have like certain amount of Gulag visits per match? Like,
you can only do it once per match.
Yeah,
and then if you die again, your players have to buy you back, your other team. So you can find cash around the map. But I've done it I've like completed the Gulag. I've survived the Gulag about 100 times, and tell you what, the exhilaration feeling every time, so high. You get so pumped up.
Nice.
You come out of that Gulag with blood on your hands, ready to win a war.
Well, I gotta get on it.
You should, mate. Join the clan. I've been playing the remastered edition of the PS2 classic Shadow of the Colossus, Dools.
Ooh, have you now?
Yeah, I'm a few hours in. It's a game that was always on my backlog. I'd never played before. It's exceptional. It's a beautiful game. It's a simple story, but it's just the whole game centers around the gameplay of you, a small warrior, taking on these giant colossi. And
it's the game just purely consists of boss fights, which is on paper not the most appealing sounding thing, because boss fights are often ridiculed in video games as being like this, oh, well, what do we do now? It's like, we'll just make this ridiculously overpowered enemy with a ton of health that, the player has to spend a ton of time on to beat and blah, blah, blah. But these are these meticulous... I mean, these are like puzzles almost. And they get... the first couple are, they're fine. I mean, they're clearly there to show you the ropes, and they're a bit of a learning curve, and they're not very difficult. But once you, I think maybe after the third or fourth one, difficulty spikes big time. And it's they become you really got to think about what you're doing. They become almost like these real-time puzzles, and you're solving these puzzles in real time whilst, fighting this behemoth. And it's just a really clever game. And I mean, its predecessor is that game Eco, which I never played, and then I had the sequel, the fabled Last Guardian, which I've also played and is also pretty good. But Last Colossus is something very unique, and there's literally nothing like it, and hasn't been anything like it since. But how far in do you reckon?
I've done 3 colossi.
Yeah, nice. So I think you're going to see I think right now, what do you reckon right now? They haven't been too difficult?
Haven't been too difficult, but I'm not a big fan of the controls. the climbing controls and how quickly your stamina goes down, and then you just drop off.
Yeah. You do need to. It's like you got to be like mindful of that, and that's why it's like, and they add like they become like puzzles almost down the track. So yeah, you got to be very, very careful how you manage it. But yeah, no, it's a phenomenal game. What's up? Is Bloodborne after that?
Should be Bloodborne or Control. I've got a bunch of games. So I've got Control. I really want to play Control because I've heard
Control's
so much
meant to
about
be short.
it.
That's my next one as well. It's meant to be quite short. I think just over 10 hours, 12 hours.
Yeah, I might do that. I might do that because I got a lot of people, a lot of the editors in my office that say, or my work team, we don't really have an office now. They say that it's their game of the year last year.
Wow.
They voted for it actually, and yeah, they say that it's exceptional. They loved Bloodborne as well, so Bloodborne's on there. I've also got I've got the Division 2. I've got Sekiro. I've got the Order 1886 dolls. Picked that up for a couple of bucks because I just never played it, and like I love that.
Yeah, I think we'll find.
Steampunk.
I want to play that. I want to play that eventually too. The Order. Because I think we'll probably find that maybe the criticism was a bit overblown, but I think it's like, I think its biggest criticism that was levied at it was that it was just really short. Like apparently you can beat this fucking thing in like 5 hours, so that's like a bit ridiculous.
Yeah,
because I think
the pacing sucks.
I think at the time it was more of they were just way too obsessed, the developers, with graphics and engine fidelity and just being a technical showcase on the console as opposed to a game, and they got caught up in that stuff. But that's one of those games where Colin on his PlayStation podcast always talks. We'll bring up and be like, if they got a sequel, like it could be a really special game because they would just focus on the game. So let me know how the Order goes because I'll be interested.
I will. I'll let you borrow it after I finish it, Dools.
Thanks, mate.
But
very kind.
Until then, Dools, let's get into a couple of news points. There isn't that much, there is only
shocker.
Yeah, we're just scraping the bottom of the barrel. But Dools, as you did allude to, Final Fantasy VII Remake has been officially released. It gets digitally released.
Well, no, it hasn't. Not everywhere in the world yet.
Oh, that's true. Like, physically, officially released in Australia. We're getting the digital release on Friday, on the 10th of April, our time. I don't know what day, time for everybody else. Reviews have dropped, and it's getting great reviews.
So I think, it's getting really good reviews. The one that stood out to me was and this outlet's pretty, like, notoriously hard to get a high score from. 10 from GameSpot.
Gave it a 10, Dools.
In terms of, I'm not a big fan of aggregate scores, be it Metacritic, OpenCritic, Rotten Tomatoes, but whatever. I mean, just for the sake of, talking about numbers, it's an 87 on Metacritic right now, which is extremely high. So, nice. That is. But this was always going to be a game. Like, this could be, I've heard that it's a great entry point for Final Fantasy, novices, people who've never played a Final Fantasy. I've never played a single Final Fantasy. But this one does look pretty cool. But I've heard, but I mean, you imagine something like this, because this is also Final Fantasy VII, the original, came out late 90s, I think. You've just always heard about this cult following it has, and how, like special it is, and how it like redefined the genre, blah, blah, blah. Like, and so this was always going to be a game that no matter what the remake did or looked like, it was always going to be held up to some kind of scrutiny, just because if you touch a classic, be it a game, book, or film, it's always going to have its naysayers. So I think its score, regardless of all that, is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna pick it up after I finished my plethora of games that I have now. I don't want to add to it just yet, even though we will be indoors for a good probably 3 to 6 months. Don't you think, Dawes?
Yeah, I mean, and we just had our premier this morning say that, this is the new normal until a vaccine, which realistically, if we do go on, is like over a year away.
Shit.
So, I don't know. I don't know. I imagine things will have to relax in the next 6 months max. But yeah, I mean, who really knows?
Who knows?
Crazy
but
man.
Yeah, just load up on games, keep gaming, like watch as many films and TV shows as you can. Just try and distract yourself as much as you can. It's all we can do, you know. It's all we can do. That's why we're here. But Dools.
It always
Dools.
Maybe cut that out.
Yeah, Dools. What time is it? 26:11. All right, I'm gonna cut that bad boy out. Dools, the Rick and Morty writer Jeff Loveness has been penned to write Ant-Man 3. What's your thoughts?
Nice. So who wrote 2? Was that just, I think, wasn't 2
Was
just
that Peyton
Paul
Reed?
Rudd and the director? Peyton Reed, yeah.
Reed. Let me have a look for you, mate. But are you a big Rick and Morty fan?
I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan, and speaking of Rick and Morty, I don't know if we brought it up in a previous episode, but I think the second half of season 4 is due very soon as well, early May, which is exciting.
Oh, really? Good. I loved the first half.
I'm not sure why they split that up. I mean, like 5 episodes of Rick and Morty is like a couple hours. It's like that's an evening. So I mean, it was painful to just cruise through those first 5 episodes and just be like, oh fuck, that's it. But I'll probably just.
But they're all quality.
I'll probably just rewatch them before the next 5 drop, so it'll feel like I'm watching the full season. But one of them was so good. I reckon that'll be a good one to do as well when the time comes. Rick and Morty review.
Yeah. The convention is what you're thinking of, right? The heist convention.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You son of a bitch.
I'm in.
So I think that kind of humor would lend itself perfectly to Ant-Man. I think that seems like a very logical and awesome pick.
Absolutely agree, and I think it's hugely popular. And the comedy is just like absolutely adored by a vast majority of the pop culture audience that would be watching this film. So I reckon this is a genius idea to get a Rick and Morty writer and get him on. Dools, your question of who wrote Ant-Man vs. the Wasp. It's a Marvel film, so it had 5 writers. It had one Paul Rudd. It had Eric Summers, Chris McKenna, Andrew Barra, and Gabriel Ferrari.
Okay. Well, let's hope we don't have too many cooks this time around.
I did like Ant-Man vs. the Wasp, though. Ant-Man and the Wasp, sorry.
It was good. I think there was maybe... preferred
it was middle tier.
Preferred the first one?
Yeah,
but,
it was a middle tier Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's not the most memorable, but it was still a bit of fun.
It's no Black Panther Dools, you know. Dools, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered. Activision dropped it on PS4 out of nowhere.
Pretty
you gonna
huge.
pick it up?
Dude, I will. I'm not rushing to it though. It's on the wish list, so I'll, intermittently check when the price goes down. Just because I'm not, completely. I'm not rushing to pay. What was it? $35.95 for just the campaign on a game I've already played.
Yeah.
But having said that, I mean the remaster. I mean they did a pretty good job with the upgrades. It looks really good. Looks like it would be
look great.
Native PS4 game. Like I looked at the screens and. This could be an easy, lazy port, but no, they've like really. It looks like they've almost applied the current, the 2019 Modern Warfare kind of like look to it, which is awesome, really cool. So, I mean that's a really fun campaign. It's disappointing though because Modern Warfare 2 still is my favorite Call of Duty multiplayer. So it would have been really cool to just re-release it, but I understand at the same time that they just put out Warzone, and the new Modern Warfare is doing very well, so you don't want to step on its toes, kind of thing. So I mean, fair enough. But
there's
it'd be cool it'd be cool if we saw it down the track, and otherwise I'd be totally happy with them throwing a bunch of those classic maps into the new one, which I think they do plan to do.
They have already.
Terminal. Oh, really? Like which ones?
They've got Rust.
I know about Rust.
They got Vacant, Shipment.
Yeah, that's from COD 4. I'm talking more about like sub-base, terminal.
Yeah, they've been thinking. There's rumors of them bringing in Favela.
Yeah. No, that'd be awesome.
There's also rumors that this year's Call of Duty is a remaster of Black Ops, the first one, or like a reimagining of Black Ops.
A reimagining, yeah. And I've heard, I think it'll focus more on the Vietnam War, which I've been saying they need to do for ages because that is untapped source material, which I think could be, make for a great game.
Yeah, Black Ops is one of my favorite CODs by far. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's up there with I think the latest Modern Warfare is my favorite COD. I just find it so much fun, and I think the story is impeccable. But yeah, I'm thinking about. I'll probably pick it up. Just because I was a massive lover of that campaign back in the day, the Modern Warfare 2. But
you may as well. You've got so much to play. You may as well wait for that first discount on it, which I'm.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna do it yet. I'm gonna wait until I've played because I've got to finish Shadow of the Colossus, then I've got Control, then I've got Bloodborne, then Sekiro, then Division, then Order 1886.
I still just have so many fucking games sitting on that cross-media bar that I just bought in a sale one day, and legit I haven't. This is maybe some of them are pushing a year that I've bought them, like Skyrim and Dark Souls, that I've now seen go for half price of what I originally paid, and I'm like, I haven't even opened these games. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? So don't make my mistake, guys. Learn from me.
I feel you. Well, I used to have a pretty big backlog, and I've been chipping away at it, Dools. Away at it. Dools, let's. I don't think this show today is going to be as long as previous weeks, just because there isn't that much news to talk about. I just wanted to catch up with you, Dools. But one question I wanted to ask you. With this whole pandemic going on, there's a lot of uncertainty of what's being delayed and when anything is actually going to be coming out. We saw that in the last couple of weeks with Last of Us being delayed. All these films are being delayed.
So should we touch on that quickly? I don't think we've properly addressed that.
Go ahead.
And I think Neil Druckmann's also come out. He was on the PS blogcast, so PlayStation's own podcast, and let me just very quickly. So can you just fill us in on the delay?
Yep. So it was originally Last of Us Part 2 was originally supposed to come out end of May. So we were about less than 2 months away. And it said that it was very near the end of completion. Developers came out and said that it was very near the end of the completion of the development, and has been delayed. Has been delayed with an indefinite release date. So what that means is PlayStation is basically waiting for this whole thing to boil down until they actually reveal a release date and commit to one. But as Neil Druckmann does say, which I'm sure you'll touch on, that things are changing day by day. So we could get a release date tomorrow that shows that they're back onto a release date rather soon.
Yeah, so I think it's an evolving situation, and I think Neil's also had to come out and kind of put rumors to rest that the game might be cancelled. It's like, are you fucking nuts? Or that it's just riddled with bugs, thing to say. Or that the indefinite delay is just due to the game being riddled with bugs, and it's just not like meeting their standards, their impossibly high standards. No, like they've been explicit. Like, this is the delay is due to reasons beyond their control. It is clearly, and they're not being explicit because they're trying to hold off from saying that, oh, well, while we could release it digitally right now if we wanted to, we don't want to do that because that means, a good percentage of the world, whether it's that they don't have the internet capabilities to download the game or whether they don't have internet at all, we want a simultaneous physical and digital release. So he said on this podcast, it's a bit rough. You're working on something for so long, some of us for years, and there's a built-in anticipation when you're doing this thing. Like, you can't wait for this thing that you've been crafting and honing and sometimes dreaming about. You can't wait to get it in people's hands and then see their reactions, see what they like or didn't like or where the story takes them. And now you got to put that all on hold because the world is conspiring against us. Internally, we know we have a great game, and it's just that we have to wait a little bit longer to get it out there to fans. I know fans are disappointed, and believe me when I say this, we're just as disappointed, if not more so, to not be able to get the game out on time. And then more on blah 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 blah. He says a little bit more. I'll just see what So yeah, there's still some bugs that they're squashing. I mean, they would kind of be squashing bugs.
But that's with every game though. That's what a day one patch is.
That's typical. Polishing is typical in the last few weeks leading up to the game.
Yeah, it's called crunch.
But I think it's also that. So, well, there hasn't been a final decision yet, but this is in regards to a digital-only release. Hasn't been a final decision yet. Right now, we're just reacting. It's a different retail chain. Whether we could get physical copies to people, what is the internet infrastructure there to support it in all countries, blah, blah, blah. So it's about making sure that it's all fair. So as I said, they're being mindful of the fact that, this is a tentpole release. While countries like ours, Europe, the Americas, most of Asia could acquire the game digitally with little to no issues. You're still neglecting a significant part of the market. So I think it's fair enough. I mean, I agree. I think we've all got to take one for the team and be like, well, no, everyone deserves to experience this, together, not have it ruined for them or whatever. So yeah, I mean,
and to be fair, this just gives them more time to continue to polish this game.
Yeah, hopefully not too much time when it gets to the point that Neil's like, you know what, man, let's start from scratch, man. Let's really make the game we wanted to make. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about,
Neil?
Can you imagine if he just starts like he's getting like tunnel vision and he's just like, I've never liked this part of the game. Let's just scrap this entire bit and start over. You just imagine like all the animators and shit looking at each other like, yo, we're gonna kill this motherfucker.
It's like sorry, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, I mean, Naughty Dog is just notorious for crunch, but
yeah.
But the argument I always hear, for crunch, and I think is, it shuts down any argument against it, is that it's never mandatory. Unless someone's job is being threatened, unless their pay is literally being threatened, which has never happened, by the way, over not crunching, then it's a problem. Any other time, it's just someone who is literally dedicated about what they do and they love what they do. Is it so hard to believe? It was like when those Rockstars guys said, when they were talking about Red Dead 2, making Red Dead 2, how they would spend hundreds, up to 100 hours in a week just writing, because they couldn't stop. And then you have Kotaku, who are the activists in the video game world, write a hit piece saying, "Oh, Rockstar makes their employees work 100-hour work weeks," and then Rockstar's like, "What? You fucking like?"
Yeah.
And then they had all their employees kind of come out and say like, "No, this isn't true. I work maybe 40 or 50 hours. I choose my hours, blah blah blah." And so anyway, I mean, it's a little overblown, and I think, if anything, actually, maybe crunch will be reduced now. Because they do have this extra time, but it is a shame.
I agree. In saying that, Dools, leading on to this is a very uncertain time. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X is due to come out around November. Do you reckon they're sticking to that date?
Oh, so I could talk for so long about this. I don't. I don't know. Is my initial answer.
Well, thank you for listening today, guys. You can check us out on. No, sorry, go on, Dools.
Thanks for coming. So what? So I listened to a interview with Phil Spencer on IGN's Xbox podcast Unlocked. And the host is like Ryan McCaffrey. He's like been with IGN for fucking years, and he's like the Greg Miller for Xbox, pretty much. If Greg
Great
Miller's
podcast, great platform.
And so he knows his shit, and they have a really good interview, and he asks some really good questions. And on the topic of whether the Xbox Series X will come out at the end of this year, and I think you can kind of apply this same line of thinking and his answer to Sony as well, because it really
they're
comes
both in
down
the same
to,
boat.
it really comes down to China's manufacturing capabilities, because that's both consoles will be manufactured in China. And he was saying, look, right now, if you had to ask me right now, we are still confident for fall 2020 release, which we can envision right now as being November. That's traditional, mid-November. China is starting to kind of scale up their manufacturing output again. So, he says that right now they see no reason why it would be delayed. Having said that, if for whatever reason things change, they're going to put their team's safety and well-being at the forefront. Like, that's their utmost priority. Like, typical corporate jargon, but of course. But the thing is that I don't think they're kind of. I mean, maybe internally they're talking about this, but he didn't mention it in the podcast explicitly. Is that even if you can meet demand through your supply this year with the consoles for both the Xbox and PS5, I don't think you're going to have nearly as many people want to buy them as you would in any other year. If it weren't for the pandemic and the unbelievable economic fallout that has come as a result of it. Like, America, it looks like they might be going into a depression. They're in a recession. Looks like they might head into a depression, I think, is the latest kind of forecast. So you've got I think the latest figures were like they're looking at 10 to 15% of Americans being unemployed. It's 30 to 40 million Americans. It's a lot of people just being completely unemployed, and that's not. So that's without any work, and that's also not including like the people who might have had hours and things like that just significantly pulled back. So you can imagine the economic toll and on people's livelihoods and salaries would be much greater. So are you really going to release what is ultimately, and we love our games here, don't get me wrong, I can't fucking wait to get my PS5, but what is ultimately like a frivolous piece of consumer tech in the grand scheme of things? You're going to put this out in the holidays after this fucking pandemic when we're still going to be reeling from it economically. People won't be thinking about buying that. They're going to be thinking about, I don't know,
affording rent.
Making sure there's food on the table, there's a roof over their head. So, I mean, yeah, China might be able to meet demand in manufacturing these consoles, but I just don't know if strategically it's a smart time. It'll be smart to put them out then, and economically feasible. I think, like, yeah, I mean, these will still sell fucking huge numbers the day they come out, but I think we're going to see a significant, like, comparatively to PS4 and Xbox One, I think we'll see a huge drop. And I just don't think optically it would look good from either company either. I think if Xbox, The thing is, I tell you what would work to Sony's benefit is if Xbox actually does commit to the fall date, and everyone will be like, "What are you doing? Like, this is dumb." And it'll be like because we also know the specs of both machines, and the Xbox looks to be quite a bit more powerful than the 5, and just uses, probably will be more expensive to manufacture as a result. And so we know the PS4 costs about $450 to manufacture. The Xbox, you might guess, maybe $500, if not a little bit more. So they might sell that thing for $549, if not $599 US. So they're going to do that, and then we're going to have Sony be like, "Yeah, we'll put ours in, late March, early Q2, $499," and everyone will be like, "Yeah, fucking like Sony's done it again." Yeah. And it'll be like another PS4 first Xbox One moment, where it's just like they'll look like the good guys. It'll be a cheaper console, and they'll put it out in a time where people have kind of been given a chance to come into a new year. We're kind of recovering, we're slowly recovering, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I mean, that's my long-winded way of saying I'm not sure if they're coming out. I'm leaning towards no. Despite both companies, the most recent from, both the Xbox CEO and Sony CEOs saying they're like, yeah, we're on target for a full release date. I just don't. I think this situation moves so quickly. Like, it's fucking crazy how things change just overnight in such drastic manners. So I think it's just, they're saying that to appease their investors, you imagine. But if I were an investor, I'd be like, you fucking, like, dude, put these out next year. Like, because also now, you're going to have all these you're going to have the swan songs of this generation now being way too close to the debut of these new consoles. Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima are going to be months out from PS5. So, I'm probably going to wait to play them on PS5 now, to be honest. Because apparently I'm going to get a much better experience on my PS5 if I play those games there. Anyway, who really knows? But if I had to put money on it, I'd guess around now, this time next year, we'll have our PS5.
Interesting.
So yeah, what are your thoughts, Haz? Anything to add?
Mate, I think
I kind of commandeered that.
No, you spoke a lot better than I could because you know all the stats around everything that's happening at the moment a lot better than I do. But no, I can absolutely see your point. I don't really see it absolutely reasonable of them releasing it this year. Good world, good future. This would all be done by July, right? That is me being incredibly, incredibly positive and optimistic. But bad world, this could still be like this until the end of next year.
Realistically, we're not going to see a complete return to normalcy until there's like a vaccine, which is 18 months away tops. So I totally see your point about it's just not economically viable. It's not an essential piece. But in saying that, though, gaming is huge right now. Like in the last, I know we've only been in lockdown for about a month, but gaming is huge. Hollywood Reporter put out an article that said that game usage has gone up by 75%. That's almost doubled, just because people are at home. Yeah,
and popular game websites, their traffic has significantly increased, just because people are just they're after a prized
Any sites in particular?
They're after a prized commodity, Dools, that really just it steers itself towards the lockdown sort of environment. It's an entertainment route that will allow you it's all about escapism. And I think that if they do release them this year, that's what they'll be chasing in terms of their marketing campaigns, is escapism from the world that's around us today.
Look, I'm praying that I can still get my PS5 this November. I would love nothing more than to dive into it.
I'll pre-order it as soon as pre-orders go on.
Yeah, it's just this time in 2013 we'd had a official press briefing. We had the PlayStation meeting, which was designed, focused purely around the PlayStation 4 and talk specs. And I think they didn't show the box, controller and price till E3, but they talked about pretty much everything else. And I think they showed a few games of this thing as well. So they
showed Infamous Second Son, and some other launch titles.
Yeah, so while we technically have seen PS4 gameplay in the way of Godfall, a third-party game that was shown at the Game Awards last year, we haven't really seen Sony show off a game. So, which there's a lot of rumors that Demon Souls, so the very first From Software Souls game, is being remastered from the ground up by Bluepoint, who actually did Shadow of the Colossus, and that's a big rumor that they're doing that, and also so that's a rumored launch title, and that's it's just going to be it's not first party, but it's second party, and it'll be one of those marquee PlayStation exclusives to show off the tech. Another one being a Ratchet and Clank sequel, which would be awesome.
Don't fucking put that out there and tease it, Dools.
Well, Colin's pretty much all but confirmed that it will be there at launch. So I think we can get pretty excited. I don't think we'll be disappointed.
That'd be huge because that original remaster was amazing.
I love that game. It looked like a Pixar movie even on PS4. Imagine how this one will look.
Oh.
That was a joy, that game. I can't wait.
It was a beautiful platinum, that one. Beautiful platinum.
And so more pie in the sky kind of launch titles would be, but then there's too many eggs in the basket in terms of Sony only titles, but a new Guerrilla Games title, which could be Horizon 2 might be a bit early for that, but then again, maybe not. But otherwise, new Killzone, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, Killzone Shadowfall was PS4 launch title.
Yeah. So be a bit of full circle with that. So I mean, I would fucking I'm hoping they still come out, but it's just I think we got to temper our expectations now.
I agree. Well, Dools, on that note, do you want to sign us off?
So thanks for joining us for our movie podcast where we only talk about movies. We promise we'll only talk about movies. No. So, make sure you tune in it'll go live Friday, the Spirited Away spoiler cast. So, if you haven't seen Spirited Away before, like Has, rectify that immediately. It's on Netflix and I'm promising you right now, you'll watch Spirited Away and you're going to want to watch the entire Studio Ghibli catalogue, which is also all on Netflix. They're fucking delightful movies and they have the best animation you'll see. In saying that, Has, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbeam, soon to be on YouTube. We're also on the social, Twitter, Instagram.
Are we, Dools?
Yeah, we're on there. Are we active? Well, it's another thing entirely. But we are on there. We do have a presence. So yeah, Has, am I missing anything? Any crucial dates?
No. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. As Dools said, catch us every Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday, our main show. Friday, our review show. Catch us on all things social. But until next time, we're off duty.